YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. 24 days away from the NFL draft, and today I got the best draft fit for every single NFL team. Even if the team doesn't have a first-round pick, we still got one. Tried to focus on first through second round prospects here. I know the Texans have a third round pick. That's their first pick. We kind of got a borderline guy for them. But best fits, in my opinion, it's not a mock draft. I do this every year, and there's always some people that think it's a mock draft for some reason. And not every team will draft their best fit, obviously. It doesn't really work like that. But, yeah, I'm excited to break this down. We'll have more videos like this on the way. Still got to do prospect rankings, some final mock drafts, all kinds of content here leading up to the NFL draft. So join us, subscribe, follow our Twitter for constant NFL talk, talking live during the NFL draft as well. And we have a fan voted mock draft going on there. We have a member mock draft all the time, pretty much every week going on walkthemock.com. You see underneath me, use code GOATHOUSE if you're going to sign up. Link pinned in the comments for anything you need. Here's our Twitter, and here's the fan voted mock draft. Make sure you follow at GOATHOUSE NFL. We'll make a video out of this at one point here once it's all done, first round. Cowboys is going on right now. Patrick Surtain is killing it right now. I do have a cornerback draft fit for the Cowboys in this video. Let's see if it's Surtain or if it's Horn. Starting with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Be a waste of time to talk about who their draft fit is at the first pick. I just, in general, I really like JEVON Holland for them. And it's a tough one to label round two because he could be their pick at the 25th pick in this first round. It's possible. It is possible. They have two early picks in the second round. I feel a little more comfortable around that range. I just love this fit for the Jacksonville Jaguars. What they're trying to do is you're going to see a hybrid look, just different looks. But here you got a secondary, a defensive back that can pretty much play any position. He's even played outside corner. They're not going to need him at outside corner. They're going to need him at slot. They're going to need him at strong safety, in the box. They could even use him at free sometimes. They do have Rashawn Jenkins, who they picked up in free agency, so maybe they won't need him at free a whole lot, but there's going to be a lot of value for them. I think this defense will really value the slot position, and that's where he thrives at. He's a really good playmaker in the back end, but where he really stands out to me is kind of shedding blocks or mirroring blocks. He knows exactly what to do and coming up and making a play. He reminds me of Tyrann Mathieu a little bit. That's kind of, I'm not saying he's going to beat Tyrann Mathieu, but it's kind of high praise there. I think it's exactly what the Jacksonville Jaguars are looking for, the versatility, but a guy that can really dominate the slot position. So we'll see if they go for him. And if they do, is it the end of the first or is it early second? Just absolutely love the fit. The Jets, I'm going to go with AZEEZ OJULARI. You don't really see a pass rusher mock to them much in the first round. You don't really see OJULARI mock to them a whole bunch. And that later first round pick is an unpredictable pick. I always say, they can go so many different routes there, but I really like this fit. They add Carl Lawson to one side, obviously, and I think they will be looking for a kind of a hybrid edge rusher. Edge rusher first, gets after the quarterback first, but also can drop in coverage, kind of what Robert Saleh had with Bosa. In this case, would be Lawson and D Ford, a guy who's a pass rusher first, but pretty good at dropping back. And he was always kind of known as a 3-4 guy, while Bosa's a 4-3 guy. So OJULARI, I think, is perfect because he's kind of, people, in the draft world are kind of labeling him a 3-4 pass rusher, mainly because of his size, maybe isn't big enough for 4-3 according to some people. I'm not really too worried about it. But I guess, his build maybe fits 3-4 a little more. He's also at times looks like a solid speed rusher. That fits the 3-4. He also drops in coverage sometimes. That, I suppose, fits more of the 3-4. But he's lined up with hand in the dirt more like a defensive end. But I think that's perfect because it's kind of a hybrid defense here where it's kind of a tweener guy. Is he 4-3 end? Is he 3-4 outside linebacker? Kind of familiar with both. Can drop in coverage. Exactly what D Ford was. I wouldn't compare the two. They're totally different, builds, I suppose, but similar style players, so I think it would really fit that new defense for the Jets. See if they do that. Like I said, they can go a number of directions with that later first-round pick. 49ers, I'm going Justin Fields. Now, I talked about this several times, some recent videos. The 49ers basically had its own video as a podcast segment turned into a video recently. Somebody just decided that Trey Lance is the best fit, and I don't know who decided that, and everyone's like, yes, he's the best fit, yes, and then all of a sudden there's somebody else that decided Mac Jones is the best fit, mainly because he's kind of similar to Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan, who's Shanahan's coach, and there's a half the world's, all over that, and everyone is basically saying those guys are better fits than Justin Fields, and I don't know who came up with that when it started. It's not right in my opinion. Those guys are pretty good fits. Trey Lance is more of a fit than Mac Jones. I think Justin Fields is just as much of a fit as Trey Lance, if not more, actually. I think he's proven in the play action, the bootleg. He wants to pass first when he gets out of the pocket, when he rolls out there, which Shanahan wants. He doesn't want a guy that gets out there and is looking to run. Trey Lance is kind of 50-50 in that range. I do consider him a pass-first guy, but if you bootleg him, you get him out there, on play action, whatever it is, I think he may tend to run on that. Fields wants to throw, but it's kind of a bonus that he can run. Mac Jones, he did a bit of everything, but I thought he really thrived in RPO, which we're not going to see Shanahan do at all. Really, I shouldn't say at all, but limited on that, which are taking a big part of Mac Jones' game away. So it feels like they're picking Mac Jones right now, but even though it feels like it, I'm not going with it because it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm not anti make that pick or it's not a fit. I'm not saying that. I just think Justin Fields fits that offense much better, and I also think he's the best quarterback for them. So those two together, I'm going with him with the best fit. Somebody out there, people out there just decided that Fields is not a fit and these guys are. I think that's complete BS. I don't know who started that. Those guys are fits, but Justin Fields is a great fit for them. So that's my best fit for the 49ers. They happen to be in position to get this guy, we think, at the third overall pick. The Falcons, I'm going to go with the guy that they can possibly target in round 2, a guy that I'm actually going to have a first-round grade on, though, and that's Javonte Williams. They may not go this route. They may try to get a guy like ETN to pair with Mike Davis. It would make sense to pair a guy like that, Mike Davis, because ETN maybe has a little more upside catching the ball to the backfield. But Javonte Williams has got, that's Arthur Smith's offense. Javonte Williams fits it so perfectly, trying to replicate what they did in Tennessee with Derrick Henry. Javonte Williams is a tough runner. He's a guy, more than the other running backs, that the defense is going to want to have to stack the box a little more and fill those gaps. And that will open up the pass game, specifically the play-action pass game. And I think it's the matter of getting Javonte Williams the ball through the air. I saw some upside when I watch him on tape. So I think this is a perfect fit, and it could be the guy they take early, too. I have a round 1 grade on him. I'm a big fan of Williams. I think he's going to be a fantastic NFL back, but I think, it just fits that system so perfectly. We'll see if they view it as the same way here. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to see what they do in the first round too. We've been talking a lot about that. Do they stay put, take quarterback? Do they take Kyle Pitts? Do they trade back? A lot of rumors about trading back. So the Falcons are going to be a fun team. I think it's a pretty obvious one with the Bengals. I kind of just had to do it because it's their best fit. I think it's Jamar Chase. They very well could take an offensive lineman with their first pick, so I cannot wait to see what they decide because I think they'll have that decision, unless, the Falcons take – I don't know. I think the Bengals are going to have the decision between Chase and between the offensive lineman. I think they're beyond the clock, and those guys can be available. But they're looking for an X receiver. First off, Jamar Chase fits anybody, but they're looking for an X receiver. He had maybe one of the best receiver college seasons in college football history with Joe Burrow, the Bengals quarterback. So it's not only a fit of what they need, it's, there's also chemistry there as well. I think pairing him with T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, that's a complete receiver trio there. And they use 3 receivers just as much, if not more than anybody. See the snap counts for those top 3 receivers last year being A.J. Green, obviously out here, and this would be an upgrade, obviously, at this point of their careers. So it just makes too much sense, as a fit. Next, Dolphins. I like ZAVEN Collins here. I'm actually recently started watching the linebackers. I'm on the linebacker film. ZAVEN Collins, a lot of people labeled him an inside linebacker, and that's where I'm kind of going to go not so fast. I thought he played, he moved around a bit, but I thought he played, more outside. So I think he fits. I think he could fit, pretty much anywhere in terms of linebacker position. I think he can play inside. I'm not saying those people are wrong. I just don't think he's strictly an inside linebacker just because of his size and his hit power, I guess. I think he can play 4-3 outside. I think he can rush off the edge. I think he's a fantastic blitzer on the inside. It just sounds like a Brian Flores / Miami Dolphins guy. I've seen some weird comparisons for ZAVEN Collins. I don't really agree with a lot of them. I'm not a big comparison guy. I'm not really going to compare him to Kyle Van Noy, but he can do a lot of the similar things what the Dolphins are looking for. Obviously, a lot younger, might be more versatile than Kyle Van Noy was, who they cut. I think I think they would like him kind of as an outside linebacker where times they can rush him, they can blitz him. He's very good dropping in coverage, which the Dolphins run a mixture of different coverage schemes, which I like for Zaven Collins. You can't just stick him in a man only. And when they are in man, it's usually a lot of cover zero, which his position will blitz. So he's not really covering on those plays when they are in those man coverages. So I think it's perfect. I think it's a Brian Flores guy. I think it's a pretty good Van Noy replacement. They're somewhat similar. Van Noy, could be a little better in man coverage perhaps, but it's going to bring a lot of this. It's going to be basically the same type of versatility that they have. I think it's a fantastic fit. And it just depends on, if did they move on from Van Noy because they're looking to get a young, they view Collins as a better fit for them, just a younger, a little more to his game at this point of their career, and they just kind of want to, in a way, upgrade. It's kind of weird saying that because Van Noy is a fantastic player, and maybe it's not an upgrade day one because Collins hasn't played down in the NFL yet, or do they want to go with strictly a pass rusher? They were kind of, Van Noy, a little more of an off-the-ball guy. Collins, a little more off-the-ball guy, but they can bring the pass rush. But do they just want to get a pure edge rusher off there? And that keeps popping in my head as well. So, at the end of the day, maybe if they want to go that route, maybe he's not the greatest fit. But what Brian Flores has been doing, and I think what they're looking for, I think is a fantastic fit and could go to them at that second pick in the first round. He's been getting a lot of buzz lately, so it's a guy to look out for. The Lions, I go with DeVonta Smith here. I love as a fit. It's that receiver they don't have, a guy that can play in the slot, play outside, crazy footwork, route running ability. They just don't have this type of guy right now. And Jared Goff, you kind of got to scheme things open in that offense, things quick across the middle of the field. I think it's perfect, to pair DeVonta Smith, to start. I think this guy can make this offense, especially make Jared Goff make his job a lot easier. And they're in position to get him. Let's see if they do that. But I think that would make the offense a lot better here. Just you can do similar things to what they did in Alabama. Next up, we got the Panthers. I got a round 2 guy for them here, Asante Samuel Jr., early second round possibility. When I watch Asante Samuel Jr., I view him as a zone coverage corner at the next level. I think in a cover 3 specifically, I think he'd be a big-time playmaker. He was a playmaker, but when he gets to be able to sit back there in his zone coverage and read the quarterback, he steps up. That's where he thrives, that's where he makes his plays. I think it could work in multiple different coverages, cover 3, cover 4. I just specifically see cover 3 as bright moments there. Who ran the most cover 3 last year? It was the Carolina Panthers. Some teams usually change that. I don't think the Panthers will. I think they'll lead the NFL in running cover 3 again, because a lot of cover 3 schemes, feature that, safety linebacker hybrid that they're building the defense around kind of him and some other players, but Jeremy Chin is what I'm getting at. So I think they want to keep that, heavy cover 3 there. And I think Samuel obviously fits that. It's a guy to look out for them early second round. The Broncos, couple different options you go with the Broncos. Well, Micah Parsons, I think it's a Vic Fangio guy here. He's always valued that linebacker that is extremely rangy, has upside as a blitzer, and then he could work with in terms of coverage. He was responsible for drafting a guy like Roquan Smith when he was with Chicago Bears. I don't know, Parsons and Smith aren't that comparable in terms of their build or anything, their frame. But I think a lot of similarities coming out of college. I think they helped, Roquan Smith get better in coverage, which they'll do with Parsons. And they saw some upside blitzing. Parsons is a phenomenal blitzer. He's rangy. He can tackle. He's not really going to miss tackles. It's a type of Fangio guy, a tough football player. And they could upgrade at that position as well. It'd be interesting to see if they go quarterback. I do think there are some quarterback fits, but there's none that are glaring. Well, this guy is a fit. That doesn't mean they're not. They definitely can be. I just thought Parsons was more glaring as one of their guys here. So we'll see if they end up doing that. They can go quarterback. They can go corner of the future because there's a 1-year deal out there at Fuller. We'll see. Cowboys, it's definitely a debate. I can debate myself really with the cornerbacks here. There's 2 cornerbacks you debate with, J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain. You see the fan voted mock draft. Everyone voted for Patrick Surtain. I'm going to say it's Horn, and I keep saying this every time I bring it up, that they actually could view it as Surtain, and they're going to run a lot of man coverage for sure. And those are 2-man coverage guys. They obviously look for press ability because you're going to need to press at the NFL level, and that usually shows which corners just have the most just talent. Guys that can press at a high level, those guys are just the most talented, most physical ones that you want on your team, and that is J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain. And they may like Surtain a little more because his technique, footwork, way he opens his hips, his jabs, looked a little smoother, but mainly he's longer, a little longer than Jaycee Horn. I think they will value that. He's also played with Trevon Diggs. It's kind of a bonus. So that one works out as well. Horn is a little more physical. Maybe Surtain's got a little more better, smoother technique. Horn's going to be a little more physical, but I think Horn's just better in man coverage. If he has to chase somebody across the field, he's going to be tight in coverage. He's going to be, I think he's a little more sticky than Patrick Surtain in coverage. I think down the sideline, maybe Surtain a little better. But that can fit like a cover 4 scheme as well. So, if they want to run that much man, I think Horn's a little better. I think he's growing with his technique, so there's some upside there. If they want to run a good mixture, maybe Surtain's the guy. I think Dan Quinn might be looking for him a little more length, so that could be Surtain. I'm just thinking if they're going to run that much man coverage, the amount that Dan Quinn has been running, I think Horn is the best fit there. It's and they're in position to get him. There's not too many corners that are that good of a fit. And they're in position to get one of those guys. So let's see what they decide. Definitely interesting. The Giants, I got a round 2 guy for them, Nick Bolton. I think they're pretty picky about their inside linebackers, especially specifically Gettleman. I've heard him bring up, Luke Kuechly, his instincts and how much he valued that, and they're still on the market for linebackers. He values a linebacker, but he only wants that specific one. I think, like myself, you're going to put instincts at the top, pre-snap instincts at the top. Nick Bolton, that is Nick Bolton in this draft. So I think they'll really like that. They'll really appreciate that, respect that part of his game, and they'll be looking to pair him with Blake Martinez if they draft him. I think it'll be. Will he be there at their pick of round 2? I have a round 1 grade on a guy like Nick Bolton. So, but from everything I've seen, it's very possible he can be there. Pretty good linebacker class could push him back. So I like the fit there for them in the second round. Not a whole bunch of needs for the Giants, so that's kind of the good thing there. Eagles, another linebacker, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I've been talking about this one a lot. I like this fit. The Notre Dame linebacker. They moved back to 12. They're kind of in his range now, so that would make sense as a pick. They need linebackers, and more linebackers. I think specifically with their new scheme, they are going to favor the linebackers that can cover. They're going to run some cover too. They're going to put their linebackers in man coverage situations as well. Both of those say you need linebackers that can cover. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is one of the best coverage linebacker prospects we've ever seen. So, they also can put him in the slot, which they'll do. They're in that scheme. They'll put their linebackers in the slot. So I think it's a fantastic fit. We'll see if they do it. I think people will be pounding the table for a receiver if a guy like Smith or Waddle falls on them at 12. So it's going to be very, very interesting because I think they have this guy possibly in mind here, and I think it'll be a hell of a pick. It's a good fit there. Chargers, we just talked about Jaycee Horn with the Cowboys. This is one of my favorite fits. I don't know if they do it because they can go offensive line, which they desperately need. I think even I got another Alabama guy, Jalen Waddle. I think that's a pretty good fit as well. But Patrick Surtain is such a fantastic fit. This could be Brandon Staley's Jalen Ramsey. I would actually compare him to Jalen Ramsey. Is he going to be as good? Probably not. It's tough to live up to that, but he's a pretty damn good corner, so he has the possibility to do that. Like I mentioned, he's a good man coverage corner. He's got a really good press technique, but where he thrives is on the sideline. If he has to chase somebody across the middle of the field in man coverage, he's not that great at it. He's gotten beat on the 5-yard, 7-yard route, specifically slants. So that says he's not an every down man corner. He's good at press. Again, he's good in his own lane down the sideline. That says cover 4 defense. He's a cover 4 defense that's going to put some press on teams even when they're in cover 4, when they're off, cover 4. And that's exactly what Brandon Staley is going to run over there in LA for the Chargers. They're going to run a ton of cover 4. This is kind of going to be his Jalen Ramsey. So I just view it as just a fantastic fit. We'll see if they land him. Because for the Chargers, I like Patrick Surtain better. I think he's cornerback 1 for the Chargers. So it really depends on team. That kind of can go for any position a little bit. It's just a fantastic fit. The Vikings got an interesting one. They could be looking for offensive linemen for sure. There's some solid fits there. There's none that are like, well, that's a great fit. Maybe a guy like Christian Darrisaw that could move back a little bit. There's so many edge rushers that just feel like Vikings edge rushers, so it's actually tough to pick one. I'm a big Jalen Phillips guy. We'll see if they view him as a fit. I think they'll like his athletic ability. I think they'll like Kwity Paye as a fit. But Jason Oweh has Vikings written all over him. All offseason, I've been comparing him to Daniel Hunter. Daniel Hunter happens to play for the Vikings. Same measurables, same athletic profile, except faster, obviously, in the 40-yard dash, a little better in some other testing things. The Vikings like to draft off athletic, traits for their edge rush position. And this guy is one of the freakier guys we've seen in a long time. They trust their development in terms of the pass rushers. They did with Daniil Hunter, guys like that. So I think they'll like a lot of these guys have freak athletic profiles. I just think they'll really like this guy. We know he's a fit because he's very similar to players that they've drafted. So they may be desperate enough to go offensive line though in the first round. We'll see, but this is no doubt, this and some other pass rushers are just phenomenal fits. It would be a fit even if they don't need a pass rusher. I think they need another one, because this draft is full of those pass rushers that fit teams that really value the athletic profile, that have enough strength as well. Patriots, I got to go Trey Lance. I think it's a fantastic fit here as well. I guess it depends, if they keep kind of that offense they were going with last year. Last year we saw more, that power running we saw for the Patriots for the first time. We've seen, well, not for the first time, but we've seen more of it. And we've seen RPOs, we've seen read options more. It has something to do with Cam Newton, but we see even the coaching staffs, I guess, flexibility, versatility there, switching things up. So they kept Cam Newton around. They kind of want to implement some of the similar things they did last year. So that tells me Trey Lance. He's got a variety of plays he can run, from play action to, those read options, RPOs, all of that. So I think they'll view him as a fit. They could definitely be trading up. I think Justin Fields is a fit as well. I think Mac Jones is a fit as well. I think more Lance and then Fields probably, but I think it's a fantastic fit, especially with, a guy like Cam Newton there as well. So we'll see if they move up. Very realistic that they do so. The Cardinals is a good one too. I like some of these corners that we already went over as a fit, but my favorite fit for them is a receiver. We'll see if they do this. I think a lot of people are counting on them to go corner. They very well can do it. I'm not predicting them to go Elijah Moore, but I think this is, to me, this is one of my favorite fits. Coming from that Lane Kiffin offense, that Cliff Kingsbury offense, I see a lot of similarities. I think this is kind of what they're missing, and this is kind of what they're looking for. A guy in the slot, in the middle of the field, that they can scheme things open for, and he's fantastic after the catch. Fits their offensive profile. I think he could be productive instantly. They need more from Kyler Murray, from the pocket. Their whole offense right now, because what they have is kind of restricted to, let's get raw outside the pocket, make plays along the sideline. So it's something they kind of need. You could argue they need a corner more, for sure. Something they need in their offense to make it that high-powered. I think it's a fit coming from the offense he did to this offense. I think it's just a perfect fit and would make them that much better. But yeah, they run a lot of press man coverage. So you look at those corners at the top, J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain. I just think both could be off the board. Surtain has a shot to be there. Again, I think Horn's the better fit for a team like that runs that much press man. So there's some really good fits for the Cardinals here. Some really good, I guess it depends on draft. Some team will have a bunch of fits in the first round. It'd be a different team pretty much every year. It just depends on the draft class. But I just love Elijah Moore in that team. I just absolutely love it in that offense. The Raiders, Jamar Johnson, gave him a possible round 2 guy here, potentially second safety drafted in this class. Tons of upside as a free safety, really good at jumping routes, reading quarterbacks back there. He can play stronger in the box and the slot as well. He's best when he's up there when he's blitzing. So I think the Raiders could use that to their advantage, switch it up a little bit, but mainly play him at free safety, which they're looking for. Again, a lot of upside back there, very good at jumping routes. So this could be a guy they're looking to target in round 2 here. We'll see. A guy like Richie Grant also could be a fit. I just like Jamar Johnson a little more. Washington football team gave him a round 2 guy as well. And they're looking to add another linebacker to kind of complete this defense, specifically an outside that can cover at a high level. Jabril Cox, one of the better coverage linebackers in the class here, and I think they'll like him in round 2. You could argue Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. It just depends on how they view him. Some teams kind of view him as a hybrid, safety linebacker hybrid, kind of a robber player, which this one's tough because that type of player in Owusu-Koramoah just fits Rivera's defense so perfectly, but they may view him, that's kind of Landon Collins. It's kind of Landon Collins' responsibility. He's kind of that hybrid player, safety linebacker hybrid. They kind of already have that, but if they view him as just strictly, which I'm good with, strictly an outside linebacker in their 4-3, forget about, playing, back at times, they can mix it up a little bit, then it works. So we'll see. And they might be looking for just strictly, more of a linebacker, even though Cox actually has some reps on slot as well, but Koramoah actually had more reps in the slot than at linebacker. So it's just going to be, what they're feeling there. But I do like Cox as a fit. The Bears, I'm going to go with a safety here. TREVON MOEHRIG, I think, is a fantastic fit. They started running a little more cover 2 last year, some more split safety looks. And MOEHRIG's a fantastic split safety, playing free and strong. See, I like Eddie Jackson more at free, and when the Bears weren't running split safety, they kind of had Eddie Jackson at strong, which I don't really like. I like him more at free. But when they do go split safeties, Eddie Jackson, TREVON MOEHRIG, it might be maybe the best split safety duo in football. And then when they don't do that, I think MOEHRIG would be better at strong. It depends on if they still view Eddie Jackson more at strong. But when Eddie Jackson had an elite season, he played free. But you can mix them up. I think they really pair together well. We don't see this often in the first round for the Bears, so maybe it's not super likely. I don't know if there's a glaring fit. I do think Mac Jones is a pretty damn good fit in what Nagy's trying to do. They're trying to run a little more RPO. They could trade up if he starts to fall. I just don't see them. I don't see it any way. It's a long shot for them to land one of those quarterbacks. So I went MOEHRIG. I think that's a really good fit. I think it make the defense that much better. We'll see if they actually do it. The Colts go Christian Darrisaw. I think a perfect fit at left tackle. They need a left tackle. There's not too many great fits, or they're sitting in weird spots in the draft where it's kind of too much of a reach, specifically in the first round, except for Darrisaw. And it sounds like Darrisaw could drop a little bit. Some teams, you're not a lot of experience, just a long reps at pass protection. I'm not really too worried about it. Dominant run blocker right off the bat. I think it's a fantastic fit. I think he possibly could slide to them. It's going to be close. I would be, it would be kind of a no-brainer if he got to them at that point, unless there's a pass rusher that somehow fell to him as well. But I just really like the fit there. That would kind of complete their offensive line. We'll see if he drops them. Tennessee Titans, I like Terrace Marshall. There's a couple receivers for them that really fit. There's a lot of fits for another one of those teams. We talked about the Cardinals got a lot of fits. The Titans, there's a lot of those linebacker, pass rusher hybrid guys that I think Vrabel really likes, so we'll see. But I think Terrace Marshall is such a fantastic fit. Really, it's the Corey Davis replacement. They're looking for a guy that can play outside, has the body for outside, but also is sneaky good in the slot, like Corey Davis, and that is Terrace Marshall. He has the length like him. He has the build like him. He has fantastic production from inside and out after the catch, contested catch. And they've, looking at the past, they've actually liked guys that were former 5-star recruits as well, and he was a top recruit. So I think Terrace Marshall has Titans written all over him here. But I had a couple of receivers as well. Steelers, this is an interesting one. This is one kind of like the Cowboys. Cowboys, I said, this corner I view as more of a fit, but I can see them viewing this corner as a little more of a fit. Same with the Steelers. I view Etienne is what should be their fit, possibly, even though I like the other running backs, but they may view a guy that's maybe a little tougher inside, Javonte Williams. But this is kind of what they've been looking for so long. They have not been able to get, running back that kid can run inside, can take the load, but also could be heavily involved in the passing game. They just have not been able to find that. James Conner, just a tough runner inside. Snell, kind of the same thing. And they get a guy like Anthony McFarland, who's, a sneaky weapon, but he's kind of just, he's not going to get a load, every game. He's just going to get some touches outside, whether it's catching the ball or, outside runs. Now you kind of get the total package on what you've been looking for, but is it really what they're looking for? That's why it's a little tricky here. But, they thrive off the, small ball passing game because the receivers they have, and I think this could help it that much more. So it feels like a really good fix, what they're looking for, and it would make the offense that much better. But do they view it as a fit? That's kind of one of those questions. I think they will. I think they've been looking for this. Browns, I like some of the pass rusher fits for the Browns, but I think, Jamin Davis is a guy that really fits what they're looking for here. And I'm kind of borderline. A lot of people hyping him up. I might not be quite there with everyone else. I'm kind of borderline, might be better early second round. But if the Browns were to, if they stay put and they need this guy, it would have to be round one. But yeah, they're looking for that athletic linebacker that could cover, specifically man coverage. And that's Jamin Davis. That's where he stands out. There's man coverage actually, which is very tough. You don't see it a lot from linebackers, college linebackers. Can cover in zone as well, can fill gaps, really rangy. They're missing speed from that position. They are desperately needing speed from that position. And you get multiple things there. I think it's exactly what they're looking for. That's the tough part though. Great fit, but if they took him with their current pick in the first round, how would I grade it? I'm almost, it's a little early, but it's a fantastic fit. So it's an interesting one for sure. But I do like some of these pass rushers. I think a guy like Jason Owe, who we had a fit for the Vikings, if he's there, I think it's a fantastic fit as well. To the Ravens, it's another tough one because are the Ravens actually going to do this? They're pretty much set at the tight end position, it feels like, but this is the best fit in the entire NFL draft. Not for the Ravens, for any team, not just the Ravens. It's the Ravens. Tommy Tremble from Notre Dame, I think, is the best fit. He was born to play in the Ravens offense. I really do. Is a fantastic blocking tight end. Downfield, get him outside. You can line him up at fullback. You can line him up at tight end. He's sneaky in terms of catching the ball in the flat, downfield, sneaky athlete. I just think he has Ravens written all over him. A lot of that power blocking, and then when things get to that next level, when it's no more scheme blocking, that next level, it's just block for your man. When Lamar Jackson's getting downfield, that it's Tommy Tremble. He gets to that next level. He might outrun Lamar Jackson sometimes. When Lamar's trying to break tackles, weed through guys. So I think on every level, it's just a pure. This is a Ravens ball player. I don't know. We'll see if they do it because again, they have other needs here, especially round 1, round 2, round 3. People kind of view them as taking a not in any specific order, receiver, tackle, edge rusher. So we'll see if they go tight end. It's best fits video, and this was the best fit right here. I thought about there's some good fits for the Ravens. I think AZEEZ OJULARI fits down the pass rusher. I think a guy like Creed Humphrey, actually a center from Oklahoma, I think is a fantastic fit. So Ravens got some good fits. That's kind of a good thing. Saints, maybe it's a little bold here. I just really love KELLEN MOND for the Saints offense for the future. I almost put round 1 here because I wouldn't be really against KELLEN MOND sneaking in the first round. The Saints to be able to get him. Yeah, for them, if they were going to draft him and they were going to stay put with their picks, it would probably be the round 1 picks. I don't think he's going to make it there with the round 2 pick. Could trade up. But coming from pro-style offense, we have a similar offense there with Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M. I think they're looking for, behind Jameis Winston, some similarities. I think he's going to be a little more mobile, but Jameis can move as well. He has the traits. It's just about with the right coaching staff kind of getting him more consistent, a little more accurate. But he has the wow traits as well. I would just love him in a Sean Payton offense. I think it's athletic, but pass first quarterback that they're looking for. I think it would just be a bright future if he landed. I want him to land a team like this. And I think he could 5-10 years from now, we could be talking about, well, maybe KELLEN MOND was one of the elite quarterbacks of this draft class with all those other guys. So I would really like him for behind Winston for a year, but mainly getting coached up by Peyton and just learning that offense. I think it's a perfect fit. I think you know the offense when he stepped in there day one, though. That's the thing as well. So going to be very interesting to see where he lands. He could sneak in the end of the first round. Packers, got to go Rashod Bateman. We all know the Packers are extremely, extremely stubborn with receivers. That's because they're extremely picky with their receivers. Can't really blame them for that. Today, we learned, maybe last year before, a lot of the receivers are just good. Just get a guy that can play. He's going to help your team. So can't be too picky, but they are extremely picky. They're only going to take it if they really feel like it's the right fit. I think Rashod Bateman is a great fit. Could actually compare him. Is he going to be as good? Probably not, but you can compare him to Devonta Adams. I mean, Bateman might be a better prospect at the time than Devonta Adams was, even though Adams was a fantastic one from Fresno. But I think Bateman is very similar. Can play in the slot, play outside, really good footwork. At the next level, great hands, has the contested catchability. Just pretty much the all-around receiver. And usually those all-around receivers, today, I guess really the guys that can play in the slot and then, is really shifty, really good with their footwork, route running ability. They're not the greatest contested catchers, but guys like Adams, so rare that he is. I think Bateman's the same thing. So this just feels like a picky team's receiver like the Packers. I think they would view him as a fit. But maybe they only want one type of Devonta Adams. That's the thing. Maybe they're that picky where they only want one of these guys. But to me, you can line them up on opposite sides of the field. You can line one up in the slot, one outside, just makes them that much better. So will this be the year the Packers finally value that receiver position, at a high level? We'll see. Bills, I like Eric Stokes as a fit. The Bills ran some more cover 2 last year. They run some man coverage as well. They'll press a lot in their cover 2. It's a hard cover 2 for their corners, even though they have good safeties, but they'll ask their corners to be a little more physical and to stick with the receiver a little longer. If somebody comes up in the flat, which is cover 2 for corner, you have to get your ass up. So it's a little more challenging. Eric Stokes, really good press, really good man, but I don't really view him as like an every down man guy. I want to see him in some zone. and that kind of makes sense in the Bills' scheme there, was dominant covering underneath. He was very good covering underneath, which you'll see more of for the Bills because their safeties are very good over the top, some split safety look. So I think it's a really good fit there. A couple pass rushers I could like for them if they drop, but yeah, I thought Stokes was the one that stood out to me. Just fits their scheme in my opinion. Chiefs, why not? Some speed at the receiver position. They did get DeMarcus Robinson back, but they're going to lose out some receivers. It felt like at times it was just too much relying on Tyreek Hill in terms of the receiver position. But yeah, you can throw Kelsey in there as well. Their tight end, but so they definitely can use more. They can use somebody else that can get open for them. Could create more for guys like Tyreek Hill because too much was on him. For an example of the Super Bowl, where they pretty much had almost a bracket on him, somebody right over the top. So getting a guy like Kadarius Toney, which definitely fits. You can play him in the slot a little more, give him the ball in any way. It just make that offense that much better here. Seahawks don't have a round 1 pick. Calvin Joseph could sneak in the first round, but I do like him for the Seahawks. He ran all kind. You've seen him run man, press, see him run cover 3, cover 4. See that from the Seahawks, maybe some cover 3. I think he can thrive in that as well, but bring that physical element that they're looking for at the same time. They're going to be looking to replace some cornerbacks, so I think it'd be a pretty good fit there. We'll see if he falls to him. It's going to be pretty close there, so. But definitely could be a day 1 starter for them, even though, finding a day 1 starter without a first-round pick is fantastic. The Rams, I like Landon Dickerson, beast of a blocker, tough blocker. Will be a first-round pick, if he didn't get hurt somewhat recently, late in the season. Still could go first because he's that talented. But a bully of a blocker here. I think McVay will like that. They're looking for another center. We'll see if he drops to him there in round 2. Would be ideal. And then Houston, and we got Tampa here still. But Houston, I like De'Ami Brown for them. He's a perfect fit, it feels like. It's tough because I view him as a round 2 guy. He's holding up the 2 because he's a round 2 guy perhaps. I wouldn't, he could sneak in late 1. It's one of those guys that I could see going late 1, early 3. I could see that. He's not for everybody. Doesn't have a big route tree, which some teams will back off of those guys. They're a little worried. I'm not worried. I can see he has the great footwork, the twitch, the quickness, the speed. But yeah, pretty much ran go, posts, some slants at North Carolina, but was dangerous. It really depends if it's a Deshaun Watson offense or not, but this is a Deshaun Watson offense type of guy. Another Will Fuller type of guy, maybe a little more build to him. Not quite as fast, but it feels like a Will Fuller type guy, similar downfield home run threat that is kind of perfect for them. So he possibly could sneak to them early round 3. They may have to trade up a little bit for him, but I just think it's an obvious fit. And then Tampa, who does have a first-round pick, Christian Barmore, which we see him mock to them a lot. I think it makes sense because I think he fits kind of in Dominican Sue role, which they got him back for a year. But I think he fits for a William Golston role as well. You can move him around a bit. He can fit, a D tackle, a DN. I mean, he can play inside as well. I mean, technically the D tackle is inside, but a pretty versatile defensive lineman I think would really help them. Not a team with a bunch of no holes, really, So I think it's a really good fit there, kind of getting ready for the future because you could replace those 2 guys that I mentioned, next year already. So like him as a fit. So that is the fits video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully, maybe you got different fits. Everyone probably does. You can let me know in the comments here. We might be able to do another one of these with maybe day 3 or mid-round fits. We got a bunch of sleeper videos in the works as well. Sleeper prospects on day 2, day 3, things like that. And then we'll get to the deep sleepers a little closer to the draft. Plenty of mock drafts, always updated. So we got you covered with all the NFL draft content here. So subscribe, smash that like button. Join us on Twitter for fan voted mock draft and constant content there as well. Link pinned in the comments for anything you need. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks everyone for watching. Goodbye.